Alright, so this video, I just totally ruined it. Alright, so these next few videos are gonna be like about you guys knowing us a little bit better, more on the personal side, I guess you could say. So we're gonna be talking about how Josh and I came to being friends and how we got into cars. So we both went to a car show. It was really a truck show. It was mainly for trucks. It was a truck show. But all the cars wanted to be there too. So we came, and I parked in the back on the concrete part where all the cars were. And I was walking around. I found this guy with a Honda Civic.
You were on the concrete part?
I was on the concrete
part. I was in the like, I had to drive through mud. My car almost got stuck. I had to drive through mud to like park.
So I met this Honda guy, right? Forgot his name. But red Honda Civic. He's alright. He's a pretty cool dude. I hung out with him because I didn't know anybody there. I was like, you know what, I'll just go. Maybe I'll meet somebody. Met somebody. But anyways, besides the fact, so me and this Honda guy, he was like, so what are you driving? I was like, oh, I drive a Scion TC. Yeah, I just got it like a couple months ago, whatever. He's like, dude, I think I'm gonna go drift around in the grass over here in the mud. I was like, for real? He's like, yeah. He's like, come ride with me. I was like, okay. So I did it, and it was freaking fun. So I was like, you know what? I've never actually done this before. I went and got my car, and I did the same thing. And we drifted around and everything in the grass by all these trucks and everything. Actually, this one guy, he was drunker than like drunk, and he was sitting on his little Ford, or like actually I think it was a Dodge, and he's like, hey, I haven't window rolled down a little bit. He's like, hey, you need to get that little race car, insert B word here, out of here. And all I did, I was like, I just stopped drifting. I rolled down the window, stuck out my thumb, and I was like, okay. And so then I went out. But anyways.
At least you said you had a race car.
Yeah, he said I had a race car. That's all that matters.
He did that. I guess I didn't see you doing that, but I also did that. I went out and like drifted in circles and stuff. And was I with Kyle then?
Yeah.
I was with Kyle, so we both did that. And you can still see on the side of my car, there's a bunch of like rock chips and stuff in the paint because I went over this patch of like little rocks, and those all flung up and hit the side. I mean, it was worth it, I guess.
The part where we actually met each other was when I was walking back with Honda guy. He kind of left me, but anyways, I was walking by and I was like, yo, that's my car. And so as soon as I was walking by, of course I didn't know about like car shows and stuff like that. I didn't know you weren't really supposed to like touch those cars, but anyways, I was like, I went by and like rubbed. This is so sexual. I gently rubbed the spoiler across the top. No, yeah, I like ran my hand across the spoiler. I was like, wow, that's really smooth. And I was like, I wonder if that's plasti dip.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but I remember like getting out of the car and walking up the hill, and I noticed that you had he had this keychain thing, the Scion lanyard, and I was like, you have Scion, and we just started talking about that, and that's all I remember from there.
Yeah, and then
that's how it started.
Yeah, and then he was like, I was like, were you the one? You're like, I think I followed you on Instagram.
Oh yeah. So a couple days before this, I followed him on Instagram because I was looking through Instagram. I saw his Scion and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, I think he lives around here. So I followed him. I'm like, oh yeah, Scion around here. I'll follow him. And then a couple days later, after we went to the show, I didn't even know he was going, and I didn't know him at all at this time. I was just going to the show with my friend, and then I saw him there, and I walked up. Dude, I think I followed you on Instagram. That's totally weird. Dude, I think I followed you on Instagram the other day. He was like, yeah, I think,
yeah. I had to think about it. I was like, wait a minute, what? Now we're going to transition into how we got into cars. So I finally got to the point where, you know, I needed an actual car that had, you know, fairly low miles, still used. And I always saw the first gen model of the TC on the road, and I was like always in the back seat of like mom's car, dad's car, whatever, And I was like, yo, what kind of car is that? Of course, at the time, I didn't know like how to identify a car except by the front badge. Maybe I knew Toyota and Honda and Ford, and that's about it. But anyways, I finally found out what it was, and I was like, oh, it's a TC, but I didn't know what kind of, you know, make it was. And I finally found out it was a Scion, so I was like, okay. And so I kept that in mind over the past like 3 or 4 years, and then until like last year, and then my mom was like, we decided to get myself a new car, and I was like, I really want that Scion TC. And so we looked at it, and like pretty much ever since then, this is a car that you can modify easily. It's fun to drive, it's not too fast, starting out with, you know. And then I got a Forza 4 for the 360, and I just started playing that, and I was really liking that. But even before that, on the PS3, or maybe, yeah, it was on PlayStation. Midnight Club, LA edition, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I really love customizing the cars and stuff like that. So that really was the initial start of how I, you know, got into the car culture. And then I started meeting people around here. Josh made me, you know, meet other people. He didn't make me meet other people. But anyways,
yeah, you have to meet.
You have to meet these people. But I started meeting other people around, and now I know so many. Like, it's pretty great. We got our own little car like group going. I've said in the previous video. Yeah, it's pretty great. So we flip sides here, trying to keep it interesting. Josh is gonna go ahead and go on his side of the story.
How I got into cars and just this general cars. As a little kid, I always had those like
Hot Wheels.
those little Hot Wheels. Yeah, so,
same.
yeah.
I forgot to mention that, but same.
Yeah. So I had the Hot Wheels. I always played with them. They were my favorite thing to play with. I would like arrange them, and I had the tracks and everything, and I would just spend my whole day playing with Hot Wheels. And then after Hot Wheels, obviously I got older and started to like want something more. So I had like video games, racing games. The game that I always go back to, the big reference game is Need for Speed Carbon, which was my all-time favorite game for racing, at least, because you could customize like everything. Like you could have like any spoiler you wanted, and you could like change the size of the spoiler and the tilt. It was just great. What? Okay, anyway. So yeah, watch Need for Speed, Hot Wheels, Need for Speed Carbon, or just the Need for Speed games in general. But that's kind of what like got me started, and really, I loved it, and I still love it, obviously. And so that's kind of, and with the Fast and Furious movies, obviously I just
you have to watch all of those.
Yeah, you gotta
watch.
You're not a true car enthusiast.